sponsored by LastPass. Today we're going to take apart the Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Pro with its massive 108 megapixel camera. We're going to compare the internal hardware side by side with the almost 3 times more expensive Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra, which also has a 108 megapixel camera. We'll see if the camera sensors inside look different than each other. It should be pretty interesting. Huge thanks to LastPass for sponsoring a portion of this video. One thing that makes life easier is not having to remember a ton of passwords for a lot of different apps and websites. We all know that using the same password for everything isn't safe, and LastPass can help you stay safe and organized by remembering all your passwords for you. LastPass can fill in the username and password automatically, so you don't have to write anything down or keep resetting passwords when you forget. LastPass can also auto-generate super long, random, secure passwords. There are plenty of other things to worry about these days, and the password shouldn't be one of them. The app itself is free, and it works on computers, iPhones, Androids, and comes with built-in password storage. There's free cross-device sync and password sharing if you need to grant someone temporary access for whatever reason. I'll leave a link for LastPass down in the video description. It's totally free, and you can start using it today. Thanks again to LastPass for sponsoring a portion of this video. Now it's time to take apart this Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Pro. Let's get started. So I mentioned before that this Mi Note 10 Pro is probably the most feature-rich phone for the price on the market. Today we're going to see what all those features look like on the inside. Taking off the back of the phone is easy enough. Careful around those curved corners, because breaking the phone in front of everyone would be kind of embarrassing. The heat softens the adhesive underneath that glass, and my razor blade can cut it away. Unfortunately, this phone does not have an IP rating. Lack of water resistance is one of the downsides. Once the adhesive is cut all the way around, the back glass panel can lift up and away from the phone. There's nothing important attached to the back glass. There are 17 screws, however, holding the internal plastics to the motherboard. Most of the screws are green, which is kind of fun. Matches the exterior of the phone. Once the screws are removed, I can flip up the small NFC pad, and the rest of the side plastics can pull away from the device. 5 cameras are what they feature inside of here, so we'll keep going. The battery gets unplugged, right on. And the exterior metal camera pulled away from the phone. You see the 4 flash LEDs, ring it, 2 soft flashes. It also has a ribbon that goes with the sensor between the 2 camera lenses. With that out of the way, we get our first look at all 5 cameras lined up here inside the phone. They take up quite a bit of space. The large main 150 megapixel is the one there in the center. If I slide over the S20 Ultra, which costs about 3 times as much as the Note 10 Pro, we can see that the cameras themselves look to be about the exact same size, and both of them have the same physical optical image stabilization. We'll go deeper in just a second. A clear version of this phone will look pretty awesome. If enough people are interested, I'll scan this one in and make a teardown scan. The loudspeaker can wiggle out. It does have the waterproofing mesh at the bottom, but inside the housing there are no holes like the stock side of the S20. The SIM card tray does have a level of a ring around it. Once again, no IP rating, but Xiaomi has at least taken a few precautions with liquid. The battery inside of the Mi Note 10 is massive. This guy is a 5,170 milliamp hour capacity. The Samsung S20 Ultra is a tad smaller at 5,000. Once again, pretty impressive for a phone this inexpensive. If I peel away the battery adhesive plastic, we can see the mill markings inside of the battery slot where this phone was carved out of a solid block of aluminum. And, more importantly, we can see the underscreen fingerprint scanner. This guy is probably the largest underscreen fingerprint scanner that we've seen yet, and definitely gives more credibility to the idea that maybe we'll see larger, whole bottom half of the screen fingerprint scanners someday in the future. Since the screen is AMOLED, and because of that LED technology, it's transparent enough to let the sensors see fingerprints through the display. Even if we had a few of these sensors grouped together for a larger fingerprint sensing area, I think it would be pretty useful. There's one more screw hiding up here under the front-facing camera ribbon cable connector. That's the only thing left securing the motherboard to the frame. Once that's removed, the whole motherboard can pull away. There's a bit of thermal paste on the back of the board, which then uses the metal phone body as a heatsink. The circular vibrator motor down at the bottom is the smallest I think I've ever seen, and both the charging port and headphone jack are permanently attached to the motherboard and not replaceable. If we come up to the top of the phone, we can see the IR blaster LED. This is for remote controlling TVs and stuff. This phone has so much going on inside, it's pretty crazy. Now let's check out the cameras. The bottom two cameras, the 2 megapixel macro and the 20 megapixel ultra wide, are not permanently attached to the top three cameras. Kind of interesting. They have their own separate housings. The 108 megapixel camera is obviously the largest of the group. Then above that we have the 12 megapixel portrait camera and the 5 megapixel telephoto camera. But today we're going to be mostly focusing on the 108 megapixel. The only two phones that exist with 108 megapixel sensors right now are this one and the Samsung S20 Ultra, both of which are right here in front of us. Get both cameras lined up. One row actually looks pretty cool from the inside, like one giant shish kebab of image takers. Each of these image takers is made up of two main parts: the lens, which focuses the light, and the sensor itself, which is the front of the image. The sensor portion rests underneath or behind the little colorful rectangle might look familiar. It's kind of just like that underscreen plastic we just removed. Both of these rectangles receive light so they can take pictures. The clear lens on the exterior moves independently of the sensor. Now let's get the 108 megapixel camera out of the Galaxy S20 Ultra. If a 108 megapixel camera is your main concern or selling point when buying a smartphone, it might be interesting to know that Samsung actually makes the sensor inside of both of these phones. That's right, Samsung made the sensor inside of the Xiaomi as well as its own Galaxy S20 Ultra. And it's not that surprising actually. Samsung makes a lot of components for a lot of different phone manufacturers. Even some of the iPhones use the Samsung OLED display. Both 108 megapixel sensors are about the same size, and if I shuffle them around, it would be hard to remember which one came out of which phone and if I scrape off the copper shielding at the back of the ribbon, essentially see that they both have the same style of manufacturing, and really just a few months apart. Now on professional cameras, these clear camera lenses would be made of glass, but since cell phone lenses are internal and protected, they can get away with being made out of optical plastic. Both of the 108 megapixel cameras in each of the phones have plastic lenses. When taking pictures, sensor size is important of course, but the size of the sensor is not directly correlated with how many pixels it has. For example, the sensor inside of my regular camera is physically larger than these cell phone sensors, but only has 20 megapixels instead of 108. Another equally important